Chandamama Ramayana, Part 25. Hearing Sugriva's words, Rama spoke, I wish to know the cause of the enmity between you two. Only after understanding that cause and the relative strengths of you both, I can contemplate the path to bring you happiness. To that, Sugriva spoke thus, my elder brother Vali was regarded with great respect by both my father and myself. After my father's passing, Vali ascended to the throne as he was the eldest. I served him with great humility and devotion, like a servant. A demon named Mayavi, the eldest son of Dundubhi, was a person of great prowess. A dispute arose between Mayavi and Vali regarding a woman. One day, at the hour of midnight, that Mayavi came to the gates of Kishkindha. With a thunderous roar, he challenged Vali to a battle. Vali awoke from his sleep and set out to subdue Mayavi's arrogance. Though the women tried to restrain him, Vali did not stop. Seeing that he was going alone, I also followed him. Upon seeing my brother, Mayavi became terrified and began to flee. We pursued him. In the meantime, the moon also rose. Seeing that the distance between us was gradually decreasing, Mayavi entered into a cave. Vali said that he would enter that cave, kill Mayavi, and return. He told me to remain outside the cave until his return. When I asked to accompany him, he refused to listen. Making me swear by his feet, Vali entered that cave. I waited at that cave entrance for a full year for my brother. There was no sign of Vali. Fear and suspicion arose in me that Vali might have died. True to my fear, red blood mixed with froth began to flow from the cave. From within, roars and wails were heard. That sound of wailing seemed to me like Vali's. Observing all these signs, thinking Vali must have died, I felt great fear and sorrow. I closed that cave entrance with a large mountain stone. I offered water oblations to Vali and returned to Kishkindha. Although I did not personally report the news of Vali's death, the ministers learned the details from me. They deliberated among themselves and performed my coronation. While I was ruling the kingdom, Vali returned after killing Mayavi. Learning that I had become king, Vali was incensed. He imprisoned the ministers. He spoke many harsh words to me. I respectfully offered my salutations to Vali, but he did not bless me. I removed my crown and placed it at his feet, yet his anger did not subside. I pleaded with him to rule the kingdom. I related what I had seen and heard at the cave. I explained why I had placed the stone against the cave. I said that I had not sought the coronation, but that the ministers had crowned me for the welfare of the kingdom. I told him that I had served as king in his absence, but now I was merely his prince. But Vali paid no heed to any of this. Before his favored ministers, he spoke many foul words against me. He said that after he entered the cave, Mayavi was not seen for an entire year. Later, he said he killed him and all his relatives. He claimed that as soon as the blood began to flow, unable to bear the stench, he came to the cave entrance and called for me. Vali told his ministers that instead of waiting for him, I had placed a stone to obstruct and imprison him in the cave. After casting such blame upon me, he drove me out of Kishkindha with only the clothes I wore. He took away my wife. Driven out by my brother in this manner, I wandered the entire world. At long last, I found a shelter on this Rishimuka mountain. This is because, for a certain reason, Vali cannot set foot upon this mountain. Though there is no fault of mine, I have fallen into such hardships. Now, I shall describe the power and capabilities of Vali. Before Sunri say, he effortlessly circumambulates the oceans of all four directions. He climbs mountain peaks and tosses mountain rocks like balls to catch them. He can uproot mighty forest trees with ease. I shall relate another story. In the form of a buffalo, there was a demon named Dundubhi of great strength. He possessed the strength of 1,000 elephants. Vain of his strength, he went to Samudra, the god of the oceans, and challenged him to a battle. Samudra emerged in a human form. I do not have the strength to battle one such as you. However, if such strength exists in anyone, it is Himvan. It would be well if you battle him, said Samudra. Dundubhi went with speed to the Himalayas. Hurling boulders with his horns and bellowing, he challenged Himvan to a battle. Himvan spoke to Dundubhi, my son, I cannot battle you, why do you torment me? Moreover, because many sages perform penance here, battle is not possible. In Kishkindha, there is a superior Vanara named Vali. In battle, He can satisfy your itch for war, said Himvan. Dundubhi came to Kishkindha and made a great clamor at the gate, scraping the ground with his hooves. Unable to endure his arrogance, Vali emerged along with the ladies of the inner chambers. He said to Dundubhi, I know you. Why are you bellowing? Do you have no desire for life? Said Vali. Do not speak boastful words before women, battle with me. If not now, spend this night in comfort. Hand over charge to all your Vanaras, appoint another king in your place. Look upon all of Kishkindha for the last time, and come for battle tomorrow morning. Until then, I grant you time, said Dundubhi. Vali looked at Dundubhi and laughed mockingly. He sent away Tara and the other women of the inner chambers. He wore the golden garland given to him by Indra around his neck and came for battle. A terrifying battle took place between the two. As he came, Vali seized Dundubhi's horns, whirled him around, and dashed him against the ground. From that blow, blood flowed from Dundubhi's ears. Gradually, Vali's strength increased, and Dundubhi's strength waned. Finally, Vali lifted that demon and dashed him against the ground, killing him. Vali lifted the carcass of the dead Dundubhi and hurled it so that it fell a league away. The drops of blood that flowed from the mouth of that carcass fell in the hermitage of the great sage Mathanga. Seeing those blood drops, Mathanga was incensed. He came out of the hermitage and looked at the carcass. Whoever threw this demon carcass here, or his followers, if they enter this forest, they shall die, cursed the sage. Hearing the curse of the great sage Mathanga, Vali's followers in those regions fled in fear and told this matter to Vali. Even though Vali pleaded for the removal of the curse, Mathanga did not grant favor. From that time, Vali does not come near the shadows of this Rishamukha mountain. Knowing that, I have taken refuge here with my ministers. There, see the carcass of Dundubhi looking like a hillock. I shall provide another example of Vali's strength. There are those 7 mahogany trees visible. Vali can shoot an arrow such that it pierces through the trunk of any of them. How will you slay one who is so powerful? Hearing all that, Sugriva said. Lakshman laughed. What should Rama do so that you may have faith? Asked Lakshman. Sugriva said to Lakshman, I know the strength and prowess of Vali. He has never known defeat. That is why, fearing him, I remain here. I do not know the prowess of Rama, said Sugriva. Rama approached the carcass of Dundubhi. Lifting it with his big toe, he hurled it, and it fell 10 yojanas away. Upon seeing this, instead of being amazed, Sugriva spoke. Rama, when Vali hurled this, he was very exhausted from battle. Moreover, it was a fresh carcass then, now it has dried and become light. Therefore, the difference between you and Vali is not clear to me. If you can shoot an arrow so as to pierce any of these mahogany trees, then I shall be able to know the relative strengths of you both, said Sugriva. Rama agreed, and as he aimed a fierce arrow, it pierced through the trunks of the 7 mahogany trees. It entered the mountain, split the earth, came up again, and entered into Rama's quiver. Seeing this, Sugriva was struck with wonder. Rama, what of Vali? Even Devendra, though he comes with all the gods, cannot stand before you. Gaining your friendship is my good fortune. Slay my enemy Vali this very moment, said Sugriva. So saying, he prostrated before Rama and offered salutations. Rama embraced Sugriva. We shall go to Kishkindha this very moment. You go ahead of us and challenge Vali to a battle, said Rama. Rama, Lakshman, Sugriva, and the others went to Kishkindha. All the others hid behind the thick trees. Sugriva alone tightened his girdle and made terrifying roars to be heard by Vali. Hearing his brother's roars, Vali emerged in a rage. The 2 brothers fought each other fiercely. Rama, even while holding his bow and arrow, remained watching, for he could not distinguish who among them was Vali and who was Sugriva. In the meantime, Sugriva took a deathly beating from Vali. With blood flowing all over his body, he looked here and there in exhaustion. When Rama was not to be seen, he began to flee. Vali pursued him. Sugriva fled without being caught by Vali and reached Rishamukha. Go, you are spared, said Vali and returned. Later, Rama, Lakshman, and Hanuman also returned to Rishamukha. Sugriva, seeing Rama, bowed his head in shame. What kind of act is this? Did you ask me to challenge Vali to battle only to have me beaten? Had you told me that you could not kill Vali, I would not have moved from here at all, said Sugriva. Chandamama Ramayan, Part 25 is complete. For now, Swasti.